Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday. How is everybody today? Yeah, you good? Well, it is that special time when we all get together, you and I, and we're going to have a little bit of brunch and we're going to talk about our lives. I would say my cough is about 99%. Well, I don't want to be that optimistic. I had a bit of a cold when I flew back from Guatemala. Many of you know I was on vacation there. I had a lovely time. Came back with a bit of a cold. I did. But sometimes sitting here kind of aggravates when I do have a cold because not because of hair, but because I lean like this rather than sitting up straight. And I think that sometimes can make me cough if my lungs aren't that great. So, how is everybody? Yeah, got something in my eye. All right, so welcome to our Sunday brunch where we get together and we talk about the news. This is not me being some kind of robo ho psychic. I know some people are into that sort of thing. Um, hello. This is us as friends getting together and having brunch. Many of you aren't able to go out and be with your friends. You know, you miss the days. That lipstick is awfully red. That's okay. You miss the days of getting out with your friends and doing brunch. For whatever reason, it's not happening for you. So, or you still get together with friends for brunch, but you also like to get together with us on Sundays. Um, so, either way, welcome. So that's what's happening. So we just talk. We have our little brunch. We share a table. This table extends to the four corners of the earth. Of course, we want to get you to join your table with ours. That would be awesome. And looks like I forgot to charge my phone. So we're going to have to, don't know if I'll be able to give you visuals of the cards. I know you all love that. I love it too. Yeah. So we're just waiting for the phone to charge. How is everybody? Where are you coming from? What you eating? What you drinking? Tell us who you are, where you're coming from. And if you have any fun today at today's brunch, be sure and think about making a donation to our cause. I believe this month we are raising money for senior dogs. Those dogs who have been abandoned because they're elderly or because they're having medical conditions. There's a great organization. I believe that they are based in Tennessee. It's called Old Friends Senior Dogs Incorporated. They do offer adoptions if you would like to adopt a senior dog, but they also offer a forever home to senior dogs who deserve love, but unfortunately have gotten a little older. Our best friend has gotten older. And sometimes people cannot cover the medical bills of senior dogs, etc. So we wanted to honor our senior best friends and continue that fundraiser. Oh my goodness, got something in my eye. As you can hear, I am in beautiful Portland, Oregon, a town that is fighting with ICE to get them to leave us alone. We'll see how that goes. It has been a little spooky here. I can sometimes hear tension. There's just a tension, that you feel in Portland, Oregon between the various different groups. This is the problem I have with conservatives is that they constantly use these straw man arguments in order to do horrible, terrible things. But one of the things that's really disappointing is I'm seeing Israel has, I'm an Israeli American, and when I see the Israelis joining this right-wing lunacy, it's pretty scary because we started off being a liberal oasis, right? That was the original idea of Israel, that it was going to be this socialist utopia. And then slowly, these right-wing Republicans, many of them with links to Russia and Ukrainian sex trafficking and everything else, brought their ideas of Zionism to Israel and then proceeded to basically destroy the state of Israel. It's become so bad in the state of Israel that the state basically paid for anti-Zionists to get stronger and bigger, and the sexism is out of control. If you criticize, then you're anti-Israel. If you criticize being treated like a second-class citizen, I don't know. So that's the problem with conservatism, right? Is that any kind of extremism, whether it's the extreme right or the extreme left, is that these straw man arguments where the other is, considered completely crazy, is something I kind of steer away from. Well, let's go ahead. We'll turn the camera around and say hi to all of you. This book of the month is Atlantis Falling, a novel by Adam Gabriel Steinmetz. Adam Gabriel Steinmetz is our author, and the book is Atlantis Falling. Be sure and get a copy. Hopefully, he'll be in our studio at the end of the month. I'm going to have to contact him and let him know he's been selected as our Book of the Month club. So if you're interested in Atlantis, and all that other stuff, be sure and check out our Book of the Month. All right, Joel Tilson's on the floor. He is our official floor director. Give warm welcome and applause to him. He says that there's a massive drone and missile attack inside Ukraine last night. Will Trump send Tomahawk missiles and Patriot missiles to Ukraine? I would think so, because it's finished, right? So I think it's out of the bag, right? Didn't we talk about this? So yeah, we talked a lot about the 6 steps, haven't we? Have we talked about the 6 steps? One of the things I did on the computer was I tried to figure out what the 6 phases would most likely look like, how what was going on internationally was going to most likely play itself out. And what we came to the realization that we would mostly likely get to ceasefire with an opportunity for Hamas to leave to a host country. So we'll get to ceasefire in Gaza, and then Hamas will be given an option to leave to a host country. That's basically what came up. And then once the area is cleared of Hamas, then they will start the rebuild of Gaza. And the rebuild of Gaza is a multinational effort. So it's a lot of people that are coming, a lot of different countries will be coming together on the rebuild of Gaza, not just one group, but it was something that was part of a greater trade deal, which was called the Abraham Accords. And it was this idea that the Abrahamic countries would no longer fight, but that they would instead engage in trade and tourism and even a transportation system. So you think about that. If you're building a transportation system and you now have officially peace between United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Jordan, etc., you can then begin to build border communities. And those border communities can also harbor transportation systems. And so if you were to build something like that, it would probably run you about 350 billion in trade annually for all the countries that were involved. So you might want to visit Dubai, but you're living in Gaza. So you would be able to take a train from Gaza to Dubai or to Amman in Jordan or to the West Bank or to Egypt, or as far you could transfer to Saudi Arabia. Anybody that wants to be part of the Abraham Accords would be able to be, excuse me, would be part of this network, this trade, etc. And so that's probably the future of Gaza. And it looks like Donald Trump and the international community developed something pretty similar to what I was seeing going on. So that's kind of exciting. And Putin being taken down is likely to happen before the fall of Iran. Anybody want to talk about why? Why do you guys think that if you're looking at this just as a mathematical equation, let's assume that the purpose of the trance state, entering into a trance state and doing remote viewing and doing it with research, meditating, trying to use your whole brain, and then using supercomputers. Let's say theoretically you decided to do something like that, or decided to use a really good artificial intelligence model to develop your thesis. And part of your thesis is to try and look at things objectively without any emotion attached to it, to step back and look at the map objectively and say, how do we fix this? And you're going to find yourself and your brain going into directions that you might not normally think your brain is going to. But when you step back and you look at the situation objectively, the economic situation of Russia, how hungry the Middle East is for this peace deal and the money that's going to come from it. When you put yourself in the shoes of Zaid and all these other people that are Trump and Elon Musk and his transportation dreams, right? And the idea that the transportation that they're using could be eco-friendly, right? So they're itching to get this project started on the Middle East. And Gaza is only one aspect, but you would be toppling. There's no room for terrorists. You got to go. You're a terrorist, you can't stay. Not at this party, because this party is dynamic and it's about building infrastructure, transportation, trade, and tourism. So if you're not a part of that, you can't stay in Gaza. That's basically the bottom line. But step 4 is that Putin is likely to be removed. Now, we could have different conversations about how Putin is likely to be removed. This was December 20th, 2023. When this was sent to the IDF. A lot of people were sending stuff. I'm one of several thousand people, by the way. But I think that because people were using mathematics and pure math and trying to look at things as objectively as possible, we all pretty much came to the same conclusion. And then we can sit around and say, hey, it was my idea. It was my idea. When the truth of the matter is, it was just pure math. But so I think that we're going to be seeing Putin removed fairly soon. And so answer to what Joel is saying, will the world continue to put up with this? Will Trump continue to put up with this? No, because the new kid on the block is the Abraham Accords. The new bright, sparkly object is the Abraham Accords and this peace deal. And so for that reason, there's no reason to keep Putin around. Putin is an obstacle to the cure. Putin is one of the people that probably planned the October 7th massacre in Israel. So for obvious reasons, They don't want him there. Killing him is difficult, though there was a recent attempt on an assassination of Assad, evidently. Somebody attempted to poison him inside Russia, which is probably the biggest fear that Putin has, is that he could be poisoned, you know. But he is being advised to retire, similar to Trump. Trump is also being advised to retire, and that's because Mike Johnson can only hold off the hordes for so long, right? Yeah, so then we get to then Iran goes next. So when there are rumors that the United States and Israel are going to attack Iran, sure, anybody that's in the way of, people need to understand that anybody that is in the way of the rebuild of Gaza and the Abraham Accords, if you're in the way, or if you're an obstacle to cure, then you can't stay. You can't stay. I'm sorry, you gotta go. That's my Miss Lindsay accent. I'm sorry, but if you are not part of this rebuild, then you cannot stay. You have got to go. So that's what's happening. I mean, for me, it's exciting because, you have a pretty good idea. You're right. I did. I knew I was right. By golly, I knew I was right. And it's nice when you start to see it slowly. It took forever, man. From the time that people started sending stuff and saying, I think that this is probably the direction you should go in, to the time that everybody got on the same page, it took a while. Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I think so. Hmm. That's a really good question. People will definitely have to leave, that's for sure. Has Trump been absent since Tuesday? I thought he just was on the air talking about something. Yeah, Trump warns Hamas of obliteration if it doesn't cede power. So I got to get a tissue. Why do you think Trump is so gung ho about Gaza? He wants to go to heaven, right? If the doctors are saying you're not doing so good, right? If the doctors are saying, look, buddy, you're not doing so good, then, and your time in the White House could be limited and you may not be even able to finish a term because of health challenges. The Epstein file is looming. What are you going to be thinking about? You've got Mike Johnson literally trying to keep the door closed so that nobody can get in. Who let the dogs out? Woof, woof, right? Who let the dogs out? So he can't control this, and which means that it's only so long before. Sorry, I have something in my eye. It's only so long before Mike Johnson has to let the dogs out. He's going to have to let the information out about Epstein. It can't go on forever. You know. You can't continue to shut down the government because you don't want people to find out what the guy you're protecting did to little children. So Mike Johnson is in a very bad situation. He either has to give people what they want and hand over the Epstein files, or the government's going to collapse. So he has to open, they're biting for time, right? He has to open Congress, the House, and they have to vote. And that means releasing the Epstein file. So what do? You give the president a week and a half to come up with an alternative plan. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Right? So what are you guys thinking? What do you think is going to happen to this president? Let's see if I can put this on here. Having trouble getting this thing on here. It's really tough to get my phone on here because it jumps so much. Okay. They're tight. I don't know. Is there a trick to putting phones on those things? There's is there like a switch to open it? I tear it like this to shove the phone into the little holder when I record. I think I'm doing something wrong. All right. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and do the MPAS prayer. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Joel, welcome. Sybil is in the house. Welcome. Renee, thank you for being here. Tarot task backwards. Tarot ask backwards. I don't know. Angelina Delgado is in the house. Portland is burning. I don't smell any smoke. I don't know. Oh, good. Renee is in the house. Good to see you. And Terry Gallant, Sue Malix. All right, we'll continue to say hi to everybody as they go along. I know, do people feel, because we've gone over it a lot in the last couple of years, do you feel now that you know what's happening here? Do you feel like, wow, I now know what's going on in Gaza? I now know secrets. Do you feel special? Because ultimately, I want you to feel special. Do you feel special? Who here feels special? Who here feels like, I got a secret. I got a little tiny secret. I know more than the average person. Maybe only less than 1% of the population has the information that I have. Right? Does that feel good? You know things. You know things because one of the people that was pushing for this rebuild is talking to you about it. Here is something that I proposed, that we build another oasis zone in the Negev. And I reached out to some of the grape growers in the Negev. We have beautiful grape kibbutzes where they grow grapes. And they're always looking for more workers to build those beautiful vineyards in the Negev. We want the desert to bloom again. So many of the people who are in Gaza right now originally come from Beersheba, and Beersheba is next to the Negev. And what's interesting is that this is the history of Abraham's tent. And Abraham was a Bedouin that came originally from Iraq, what is now Iraq, Babylon, there was war and tension, and so he moved to what was Beersheba. And so I thought because they have to demolish a lot of the chemical weapons and stuff in Gaza because of the toxic. It's pretty toxic there, and there's nowhere to live. The whole thing is demolished. There's nowhere to live. Could we build a kibbutz program in the Negev that, and then we looked at, when I did this one, we looked at building a kibbutz, which is awesome. Anyone who's ever spent time in a kibbutz, it's awesome. It's like camp. Anybody go to camp? You get to eat all your meals together in a big room, and you sing camp songs. You sing like, we're the Oasis and we're number one. We're the Oasis. You make up stupid songs about yourself, and we're going to be the best in the world, right? But you learn folk dancing. I mean, kibbutz is awesome, but wouldn't it be great if we had an integrated kibbutz of Gazans and Israelis that grew grapes and other produce? And then you could also get some wine growers in there. What's interesting is we looked at Islamic law. Could we have a partnership with Gazans who are mostly Muslim? And the answer was yes. They have no problem. They would love to work in such an program. As long as they don't make the wine, but handling grape operations, securing the land, growing grapes, growing olives, no problem. And then you'd have a different group of people that manufactured the wine, or some of the grapes would just go out for other things like grape juice or other products. But we worked out the calculation, and you would secure about 75 to 85% of Hamas, which is what we're trying to do now, which would reduce terrorism by 90 to 95% by 2035. And just putting an additional kibbutz with jobs in that area could escalate to 500,000 to 600,000 jobs for both Israelis, Gazans, and Egyptians. And that program alone would generate between 130 and 165 billion in trade. Recommendation based on computers research that we did, approved now. I had somebody helping me, I should say. I had a colleague help me with this. But approved now, IDF starts week 1. They would put in 2.2 to 3.5 billion. You'd bring in 10,000 troops, 1,000 buses to help bus people to the new location. Oasis 1 saves them and secures Israel. Cameras will prove it to the world. So the other thing was, this was an idea that Elon Musk had, which is to put cameras everywhere so that people can see what day-to-day life is like on a kibbutz. And people will begin to believe in the program when they see that the people themselves are happy. Ultimately, it has to be that from the people, what's interesting is that this is such a socialist idea. And I think that's really funny that I've got these right-wingers that are wanting to be a part of something which has such strong socialist leanings, which is why I always thought it was going to be the liberals that started doing this. But and what's interesting is that United Arab Emirates will probably pay for a lot of it. Saudi Arabia will probably get involved. UN and also wealthy business people are pledging money to the rebuild, to building the kibbutzim, the oasis zones. And each oasis zone is built differently depending upon the needs or desires of the person. So that's cool. We have an interesting idea for Zone 1. Zone 1 is at the border with Egypt. And one of the things we learned when we were doing geomapping is we learned that different communities have different religious beliefs and different clan leadership. But if you look at Oasis Sinai, that's probably going to open up when we rent from Egypt. If you look at that area, it's extremely religious. They're very conservative. The Bedouins live there. They're often in burqa. So you want to just always be sensitive to the religious and spiritual beliefs of the people that you're working with. So that is why I proposed that they place Bedouin leadership in Oasis Sinai. So if they were building a university of Bedouin studies, a large Bedouin market that people could visit all over the world, that would be the place to go. And in fact, for thousands and thousands of years in Oasis Sinai, there was a Bedouin market that thrived, and the people happily sold their stuff. So under this program, it would become alive again. So we're going back, into the future, into this really exciting. It's exciting to see these types of programs that are going back into the future. I think the weirdest thing for me, was that other people were channeling the same idea. That other people came up with the same concepts. That the Prince of Saudi Arabia had come up with the same exact idea. It's like, yeah, I want to bring back the Oasis. I'm building Oasis in Saudi Arabia. And then United Emirates said, well, we want to do the same thing. Excuse me. Well, what if we connect them all the way to Gaza with a trade route that would be like a modern day caravan system? So then what happened was it started coming out that these systems had already been in existence, and they just uncovered a 5,000-year-old walled oasis. But what was interesting about the research is what they discovered about the walled oasis was that it was 6 zones. And so we were reconstructing the same exact construction from 5,000 years ago. A circle, like get around the circle, the powwow, protect everybody. It was a circle of security. And inside the circle was 6 separate zones. A network of oases in the Northwest Arabian Desert. So the thing that blew my mind in this journey to try and figure out, what the hell's going on in this world, is anything real, was that we were channeling something that's already happened. We were channeling. So then the question is, well, that sounds really great. They were protecting the water, and they had 6 zones. War. Tribes, warriors, hoodlums came in and attacked and massacred the people that were overseeing the security. And that is what led to the death of the oasis. And so we know what caused the death of the oasis. The question is, how can we bring the oasis back? That's ultimately the question. So we now know what it looked like, a network of walled oases identified in the Arabian desert. We know why it failed, right? And we know how it was built. Six zones walled. So you're special. Renee is special. The Sybil is special. Devano Christopher, K Travel, who's going to be moving to Newport. Give it till spring. Because you know something that most of the world doesn't know. You've seen the past and you've seen the future, and that makes you pretty special. All right. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the Empath's prayer. If anyone would like to receive a healing at this time, please go ahead and give us your name or the name of somebody you love who you'd like us to pray for. And we will include you in our prayers today. Again, if you are having fun and you'd like to donate to our charity, we would much appreciate it. We're raising money for senior dogs. The senior dogs deserve a home too. Go ahead and put some candles in here. Good to see you all. What you eating and drinking? Anybody have anything good to drink? Anybody having anything good to eat? Hopefully that'll hold. They're tiny. Are we feeling special? You got a secret. You know more than the reporters at MSNBC. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Probably, but it doesn't matter who the leader is. Eventually, I mean, even if it had been Harris, eventually people would have come to the miserable conclusion when you have somebody as crazy as Hamas, you're going to have to plow through, which is what pretty much Elon Musk has said, plow through. But people will plow through, plow through, because you see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture, if you don't want to surrender and hand over the hostages, we will plow through you. Because this is happening and you can't stop it. This train is moving. Oasis is going to happen. The money is too big. That's the bottom line. They did it because they saw the money. And when you show somebody who wants power a transportation system that's going to put 350 billion per whatever per country is going to be raking in billions and trillions of dollars, they don't care that you want jihad. Oh, we are jihad. Plow through, mow them down. You can't stay. This is the future. Security checkpoints, controlled security inside, anthropological integration of populations, cultural and social integration, education for reform, kindness over confrontation. These are the 6 points. The problem. An integrated kibbutz model will be nonviolent. No weapons, plainclothes police inside, secure perimeter. It's going to be the first time that an Arab, Gazan, has been living with Jewish people because it's going to be integrated. And the police are going to be plainclothes. They're going to be having breakfast with you. So it's going to be a very weird world that the people who get into Oasis find themselves in. Your whole entire life, you've been told to hate and kill Jews. And now all of a sudden you're living on a kibbutz where the people sitting and having breakfast with you, shalom, salam, are the IDF, and they're living there too. And their kids are going to school with your kids. So it's controlled integration with incentive for compliance. This is the copy that Elon got, Elon Musk. and Bibi Netanyahu. It had to be really brief. It had to be really brief. I didn't want it to be 100 pages. It had to be something that they could just hand to Netanyahu. He just handed it to Elon, and this, like, what I love about this, the initial Oasis plan was that it was so small. Like it was so it was short. Then after you come up with something, excuse me, that's short like that, you've got to tear it to pieces. You've got to tear the thesis to pieces. This is March 18th. What do you do with Hamas ceasefire rejection? Airstrikes with U.S. backing. Israel launch an all-in military operation. Maximum commitment to exile 400K. Current situation if it remains rejected. Oasis plan. International support and financial backing. The relocation, 400,000. And here's your odds. I worked on odds of how many people would live long term. So, you see war now, but you you have to think in terms of long term. You lose 10 today, you save 100,000 tomorrow. Yeah. That's the cruel reality of war. You start calculating deaths. Yeah. All right. Without further ado, let's go ahead. We'll do the impasse prayer. We'll give you a collective reading. And then after that, we will blitz away. Sound good? Trump wants a legacy. And so this is his legacy. He can now leave the White House if he's removed, or choose to leave before they forcibly remove him and say, hey, I did that. I built that rebuild. I did that. I deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. That's my legacy. Look at what I did with Abraham Accords. Look what I did in creating peace in the Middle East. But they're never going to give me credit, and I deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. That's Trump's attitude. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say Amen. And for those of you who are requesting a healing at this time, we come together and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again, we say, Amen, Amen, Amen. May all souls be healed. May all souls be healed. I don't know what's going on. I've got like a watery going on in my left eye. All right, let's take a look what is going on in the coming week. Please, if you haven't liked, shared, and subscribed to the stream, we would very much appreciate it. This reading applies to anybody who's seeing it at the time of the reading. And wonder if I can make this bigger for people. Is that the biggest I can make it? I thought I could do it differently. I'd like to do it the opposite way. Huh. I don't think I can. I guess that's good enough. What if I go? It keeps making me larger. I don't know why. All right, let's take a look. Here is your future. If it doesn't apply to you, go ahead and send it to the next person. This is what we anticipate is going to be happening in the world in the next couple of weeks. And let's see what we find out. Thanks for being here. Something got my eye irritated. Probably mascara. I'm going to a plant nursery today. I'm kind of excited. Yeah, I'm going to go pick up some spices. All right, where you're at right now, 2 of Swords would indicate that now is the time of hear no evil, see no evil. Why are we getting that kind of energy? 2 of Swords is about boundaries. 2 of Swords is your base card. You know, when you think about 2 of Swords, it can be a retracted kind of an energy. It's where the person refuses to speak to anybody. It can be somebody who's so close-minded they refuse to become educated, and it's a very dangerous place to be. It's a very dangerous place to be when you refuse to let anybody teach you anything. Who here has been so defensive at times that you refuse to hear the other person's side of things, and so consequently, and then you found out that they were right, and you ended up, because of your emotionalism, losing time and money rather than listening to the person that was right. So, 2 of Swords, what's interesting about the card, the 2 of Swords, and the fact that it's the base of the reading, is that 2 of Swords Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, the camera might be switching. Okay. How's the sound now? Let me check my sound. Hello. Yeah, the sound is good. Okay. So be sure that at this time in your life that you are not being so close-minded and so rigid in your thinking that you are not seriously yeah, I wanted to show you guys the full thing, that so I went offline, but don't worry about it. So the takeaway here, see, it doesn't do what I want. So the takeaway here is that don't be open-minded. Don't be so rigid you're not listening to people at this time in your life. Try and stand outside yourself and look at things objectively and see if there isn't something you're missing. And your karma card is discipline and hard work over your labor. Discipline and hard work over your labor, right? So when we think about discipline and hard work over the labor, we're talking about that thing that you thrive at, the thing that you believe in, the thing that is of value to you. The Eight of Pentacles, the thing also I would say about Eight of Pentacles is that it's mastery. Oh, the sound is back on. Yeah, that's because of the, don't worry about it, you guys. Let's move on. So, yeah. So the point is that now is a time for discipline and to perfect your work and not to and to be open-minded to critics. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I really want to play the violin as well as I can, even though I'm, a lady of a certain age. And I started to learn the violin when I was 60 years old. And in my mind, I want to be as good as Yitzhak Perlman, right? Which sounds crazy, right? So when you're that neurotic and that obsessed with being perfect, it makes it very difficult for your violin teacher to help you because you're so wrapped up in being right and being perfect and being the best that it becomes impossible for you to learn. No, I have to be perfect, right? Rather than just enjoying the process of learning to play the violin. So the Two of Swords is just a very retracted, excuse me, it's just a very retracted energy to be in. And now is a time, if you really want to master your skills, like the violin, like I was arguing with my violin teacher, but I know I've got it right. Well, I wasn't listening to her. And then I went back and I really listened to her. And oh my God, I had such a huge breakthrough in the violin. I realized something that should have been so obvious, but I wasn't. Measures and half measures, they're important. Now I'm focusing on how really the best proper way to hold the violin. I got rid of the violin rest. They call it the violin, the shoulder rest. All right. So where you're at right now is Six of Pentacles. You're in a time in your life when you can release justice to the world. So Six of Pentacles is a desire to serve and to help others. It's a Pentacles card, which often has to do with things of finance and financial justice. Those who have and those who have not, those who have work and those who have not. A lot of people say they don't even recognize the United States because we've lost our kindness and our willingness to help others. And instead, we've moved towards this cruelty. Cruelty is the point. Like when they went into Chicago and had children literally naked, drugged from their beds, freezing. And people were like, for the love of God, these are children and they're naked in the streets. I don't give a about those children. What happened to someone's mental health that they worked for ICE and turned into that person, right? So Six of Pentacles is about wielding justice. So we will be seeing justice and service and moving away from cruelty being the point. Many of you who are seeking jobs, the good news is we will see a better jobs market. The Page of Pentacles is moving into sixth position, which would indicate, second position as a crossing card, which would indicate that work is coming in so that you guys have jobs. Yeah, so coins is work. It's associated with the element of earth in traditional Chinese medicine. It's earth, and earth is associated with gallbladder and liver. And the archangel associated is Gabriel, and Gabriel is closest to the earth. Our ideas, often ideas that bring us money, like the writing of Bridge Over Troubled Water or Seven Psalms by Paul Simon. Those would be examples of channeled works assisted by Gabriel that led to some nice coin for Mr. Simon. So our inspiration also comes from Archangel Gabriel, the coin maker. Be careful about a feeling of betrayal in the future. We have a 10 of Pentacles there and a transformation of our situation overall. I do think that the Epstein files are going to be released. Look, I don't really know what the government can do to stop this from happening. Do you? Can you guys think of any way they can stop this? I mean, look at the scene. Consider the scene that we're in right now. You've got Mike Johnson sending everybody home for a week and a half in the middle of a shutdown because he's trying to keep some Democratic congressperson from coming in and having the vote. And this is the desperate situation he finds himself in to protect the president from being exposed as a pedophile. So what does that say about the character of Mike Johnson, that you're his bag man? You're the one caught holding the bag, Mike Johnson. You're the one that shut down the government and did all of these things just so that we wouldn't know that Donald Trump raped a 13-year-old kid. And so this is ultimately why we're here. This is why the government is shut down. This is why MAGA Mike cannot stop the train from moving, cannot keep the flow of this tsunami, right? But that's really what's going on. And so we have this major transformation over the situation towards the good. I see more people getting jobs. I do feel this sense of betrayal is coming in globally. And that leads me to think that people just kind of snap out of this Trump cult, because I think that something is about to happen. The Mike Johnson stuff, I take it with a grain of salt. I mean, the whole evidence that he was on Grindr, but now they're saying that Mike Johnson did go to conversion therapy. Is that correct? Is it true that Mike Johnson met his wife during conversion therapy? I think, unless it's a joke, I mean, it sounds like it's a joke. He was gay, and then the Christians freed him of his gayness by going to a conversion therapy program. And then his wife said, I gave him his corsage. The corsage after you pass the program. Is this true? So, if that's true, that he went through a gay conversion therapy, oh, wife is a conversion therapist. Oh, okay. Yeah. So Mike Johnson went to conversion therapy. So this is why there's no smoke without fire, to free himself of his gay feelings. And then after you graduate and you have succeeded in this program, you get to have a little corsage that says, you're a man now. You're not one of those fey boys, right? And so his wife brags that she's the one that pinned his corsage when he was liberated from his gayness, right? So now there's Grindr post, supposedly. But you can see the situation here if you're looking at it globally. The 10 of Swords, the 7 of Wands, death and transformation. If we're talking about the government shutdown, eventually they're going to have to bring Congress in, and they're going to have to get them to vote on this, because that's 7 of Wands, which is to defend your position and try and hold people back. The global feeling of betrayal, 10 of Swords. Death is upon the situation. And then we have power to the people, which is a nice 6 of Wands moving in. 6 of Wands is about victory. If you're looking at Wands, as time. Most readers do. You can do what you like, but most readers see the wands in time, and that is because time is part of the nature of wood. Time is trapped in wood. From a Chinese medical perspective, the wands are associated with the elements of wood and fire. Wood and fire. I said before that earth was liver and gallbladder. Earth is stomach and spleen. I stand corrected. Earth is stomach and spleen. Gallbladder and liver is wood. And fire is heart, pericardium, triple heater, which is your body's ability to raise its immune system, fight infection. And the small intestine also is part of. But the point is that Six of Wands, because it is a wand, we read time in wands. You guys can all do what you want. I think but actually, I know Linda G counts them as months. Most readers count a wand as a month, right? Eight of Wands would be the month of August or the 8th month. Four of Wands would be the time of April. So most read it as month. But you guys, like I said, can do what you like. So we're marching into a really positive time in American history, even though it doesn't feel that way right now, because we've got a Six of Wands standing in the 7th house, which is the immediate environment is moving towards prosperity and success over the next 6 months. And I think that the war in Ukraine is likely coming to an end because of these cards. You can see all that betrayal we have to go through, though. Geez, Louise, 10 of Swords in the 4th house, emerging with a 7 of Wands. And what were you defending? That's what I would say to Mike Johnson. At what point did you think that this was a good idea? The opposition at this time is the people in power who have, if you're looking at 9 of Pentacles, it's money, wealth, and finances. If a person's life is good, they don't need to change anything, then they don't need to make things better for you. It's like being in a loveless marriage where you do everything for the other person. And they're great. This is the best time of my life because you're my slave. I got her out cooking. I got her cleaning. I got her taking care of the kids. And then she goes to work. And she brings me money too. My life is good. I got a woman of valor here, right? I got what they say in Hebrew is an Eshet Chayil. I got a woman of valor. I got a slave is what I got. So I feel pretty damn good about that. So my marriage is great. She gets up before the sun comes up, and she starts cooking and cleaning and getting the house ready like Honey Boo Boo from Korea. You ever seen her, Honey Boo Boo? She gets up at 5:30 in the morning as part of her disciplined life, makes herself some tea, and then she begins to cook and clean. And then when her kids are up at 7:30, everything is perfectly presented, all their beautiful breakfast and their bags of breakfast, their lunches are packed. And the miserable husband, you never see the husband, he walks out to work. Honey Boo is from, where is Honey Boo from? Does anybody know this? She's Korean. And you can't help but admire her. At the same time, you get the impression that her husband has no respect for her. He never talks. He's not seen on film. And he just takes the food that she packs lovingly for him and just walks out the door. And but the point is that is an example of maybe they have a great relationship. I don't know. But that would be an example where one person feels exploited in the relationship, where the other person may feel not so great. I can't remember how to spell it. Something like Honey Boo Boo. I don't know. You guys know about this? A disciplined life. Honeyboo, disciplined life, Korean housewife. Well, she likes it. I mean, there are people that genuinely love living this uh, disciplined life, and she's got something like 3 million subscribers or something. But the point is that Nine of Pentacles has an aspect. I'm sorry, I can't find this. Oh, here it is. Let me show a little bit of Honeyboo's life here. She, I think it's inspiring. I think it's very inspiring. But the problem when you have with the opposition in our house of opposition is that you've basically got the rest of us trying to be as good as possible, and the parasites are benefiting. And that's the problem I have with the whole imagery of Honeyboo. Yeah, you're doing all of this stuff to be good because you only answer to yourself, but you're also enabling the other person to become a monster. That's the problem.
Late night strolling, far from home, and horizon looking like a sunset dream.
So this is, but she does, and then she preps and preps, and then she gets everything ready every single morning for her family. No, thank you. That was delicious. Just grabs the bag out the door. So, why do I use that imagery to describe our reading today? Because the opposition is the Nine of Pentacles. He's doing great. And that's kind of how I think people feel about the upper middle class in the United States. Not paying taxes worked for them. Nine of Pentacles, they're great. They're sitting in the well. They didn't know that revolution was going to happen. Let them eat cake. They didn't know that it was going to get to this point of Ten of Swords, that we would be so broken, we would be marching on Washington, D.C., and he brings in the National Guard because he knows what's coming. Well, we were great. We had plenty of cake. We love Versailles. Versailles is great, right? So that's the energy that you get here. And then the hopes and fears is things happening very rapidly. Eight of Wands is also the strife. It can be a card of strife. And then the final outcome is the truth comes out. Ultimately, the truth of all of this ugliness will come out for all of us. What did we all participate in? How did our country become such a terrible place? How did so many people get away with not paying their taxes? You have to pay your taxes, otherwise the country falls apart, right? We start to see progress in a positive direction, moving towards the people within 30 days. So I think the government shutdown could go on for 30 days total. The opposition, a new beginning has to start for the millionaires and billionaires, or we're talking about another revolution inside the United States. It's going to make the French Revolution look like a party, look like a Disney party or something. The hope and the fear that the nation heal. Archangel Raphael moves into 9th position. Our Archangel Raphael, who carries the water, the elixir, and tells you to keep your omega-3 levels up. And the final outcome is the new president will be J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance will be the 48th president of the United States of America. I know you don't want him to be the president. I listen to you all day long. I have heard everything you've had to say. And I acknowledge how you feel. I do. But that's the way it's going. J.D. Vance is going to be the 48th president of the United States. Trump will leave. He wants to get this Gaza deal as his great legacy before he gets kicked out the door. There's only so long he can keep Mike Johnson pushing the dogs and the press and everybody else out. Mr. President, they've worked their way through the barricades. You need to go down and check out what's going on in the basement. Right? What's her name? Sarah? Who's the comedian that does that? Sarah Cooper. That's right. Yeah. So I think we're back there. I think we're back to the days that Sarah Cooper had warned us about. Yes, or that. Yeah.
And I was there for a tiny, little short period of time, and it was much more for an inspection. There was no problem during the day. And I've gone down 2 or 3 times, all for inspection. And you go there, someday you may need it, but you go there, and I went down, I looked at it, it was during the day, it was not a problem.
Sometimes the Secret Service even tells the president, I can't do this. So you tell me, Mr. President, they didn't say to you, you have to go downstairs. My responsibility is your welfare. They didn't limit you at all in the House?
Nope, they didn't tell me that at all. But they said it would be a good time to go down, take a look, because maybe sometime you're going to need it. And I've been down, let's see, that would be number 2.5, sort of, because I've done different things. But 2.5.
Yeah. So Eight of Wands is strife. 10 of Swords is a feeling of being betrayed. All right. You got to give me that rebuild before they come and take me out of here with torches. You see, now do you get it? Now do you get where Trump is at? You know so much. You know so much more than the average person. Excuse me. Rocky Durden became a YouTube member. Rocky Durden became a YouTube member, and we welcome you. We welcome you, Rocky Durden. Yeah. Yes, I wrote that. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. So without further ado, we will blitz away. Is everybody having, excuse me, having fun? Yes? Everybody have a nice breakfast? Oh, that's not going to happen. Let's see what happens with the future of Hamas, the terrorist group holding the people of Gaza hostage. Not to mention what they're doing to the Israeli hostages. Such nice people. Let's take a look. What's going to happen with Hamas? What is going to happen? Hey, live to fight another day. That's what I said. Take the deal. You're not in charge of anything anymore. The world hates you. Hamas's future. 30 days. I see a lot of fighting over the next 30 days. Ace of Wands, fire wands, aggressive energy, hitting people with wands, right? So Ace of Wands has that aggressive energy. So we're seeing aggressive behavior over the next 30 days while Hamas desperately attempts to hold on to power, which they won't be able to do because you've seen the money. You're intelligent people. Look at the money. Imagine being Mohammed bin Salman and you're sitting on that. You're sitting on that money. Imagine being the United States. Imagine being Jared Kushner. Imagine being Donald Trump. Imagine being any of these people. Imagine being Italy. What are you going to do? You're going to just sit around and let these brats have a temper tantrum while they hold the world hostage? Or are you going to say, that's enough, we're here? You're going to look at the data. This is the data. It'll go on and on and on, and people will die, and this hell will never end. We're being held hostage by psychopaths that, you know. Or you just look at the data and you plow through. You might as well take the deal, Hamas, because you can't compete with the Abraham Accords. It's too much money. It's too much money. It's everybody loves Allah, but it's ultimately about the bottom line, right? So it's like yeah. All people care about who are in these positions of power, which is what I was telling people for years. All they care about is their trade routes. That's all they care about. How can we make more money? Show me the money. Egypt, we can give you 10 to 15 billion alongside a 6.8 billion security measure. This is the real conversations. Then you feed their ego. The humanitarian triumph of Egypt. Stroke those feathers. We're going to bring back the Bedouins, your proud heritage. Right? You're going to be saving the world. And the best part, economic prosperity. You're going to get 25 to 45 billion in benefits directly. Right? You become like a car salesman, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to sit around and listen to the demands of Hamas, or are you going to plow through? So we lose 50,000. If we keep this thing going with these lunatics letting crazy psychopaths have guns, it's going to be 250,000, right? So we plow through. We've looked at the numbers. We got to get to that rebuild. And so that's exactly how it looks in the real world. In terms of an Ace of Wands, that would be war. Six of Pentacles, I think it's a very good deal. Six of Pentacles would indicate justice in the area. The hope and the fear, kumbaya, the happy family. And the final outcome for Gaza, more conflict and fighting, which is to be expected. But also, it's a different type of fighting. Five of Wands is more like being in college and getting into a debate, and everybody is frantically trying to work it out. Nobody actually gets beaten up in the Five of Wands. Also, it's known as the theater card. People who are actors that are in the theater, performing arts, will often get the Five of Wands. Wands is action. It's the energy of movement. And the Five of Wands is like people frantically getting together to try and set up a play before a performance. And I think it was based on the merry men of Shakespeare when she drew this picture. So it's a little bit tongue in cheek, but I got a barn. Let's put on a show. Well, I've got a stick. Well, no, move that there. No, move that there. No, I don't agree. That's not where this needs to go. Who's handling the lighting? It has that aspect of a theater in motion, or a theater being that this thing is being orchestrated, or this thing is being created. So it's not the same kind of violence you would get with like the Knight of Swords, which is far more violent and aggressive. Over the issue of success, it ultimately was about money. Are you guys surprised? You have an Ace of Pentacles moving in 7th position. In a blitz, it's the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th of a Celtic cross. That's how you do a blitz. It's your immediate environment and the environment of your opposition. So they got paid off. I mean, it's a lot of money to be made if this is done right. There it is, the Two of Cups with the Ace of Pentacles. It was an economic agreement. Is anybody surprised? Hopes and fears. There it is. There's the contract. And then the final outcome. Success. Four of Pentacles moves into the final outcome, which is a desire to pull back. It's also self-examination. It can be a frugality card. So this has to be done very, very slowly, and I hope they don't waste money. Four of Pentacles is to not be irresponsible. It's to be frugal and disciplined over our investments going forward when it comes to the rebuild of Gaza. You can't just be paying anybody and everybody anything. So there's a warning not to be too enthusiastic. Yes, I was surprised that Musk hasn't said more about the rebuild of Gaza, considering he's very much involved in this. And yet he's kind of sat and been mute, which has me a little concerned. Like, are you not happy with sir? What happened here, sir? I thought we had a little. Did I miss? Did I not get the memo right? I mean, yeah, you want to make sure you get the memo right. I think we did pretty good. I think that the idea, well, not me, I didn't do anything. I just wrote a thesis, but I think a lot of people came up with the same idea, to be honest with you. I don't think it was just, I think thousands of people went into this, but it's kind of cool that I got to be one of the main architects of like the foundation of it. But you can see they've, by the red, they achieved everything. I mean, look how much progress they made. All the outer perimeter is now can go under the control of the Abraham Accords. It's stupid, though. You know, it doesn't make any sense that you would want to stay in that area, because if you stay in that area, they're going to demolish it. And so if you stay in that area, you're going to wind up dead meat. I mean, there's chemical weapons. It's a hellhole, greater Egypt or greater Gaza. So you'd want to go into Oasis and where it's like a kibbutz and you're having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you got your job and you're going and working in the grape fields or whatever. I mean, that's a hell of a lot better than being stuck in a hellhole with terrorists and chemical weapons everywhere. Here's the final report we did for this, which was March 5th, the caravan. Just the construction of the transportation, which I think they've already started in Sderot, which is the main hub. They've already started that. Zone 1, Rafah, they've already started to move people there. It's happening really fast. 2.5 billion will just get the trains, their subway, their light rail set up. We want them to have a light rail. Here's how much is going into 5 to 10 billion, 400,000 prefabbed homes in Rafah. Can you guys see this? I don't know. Hopefully you guys can see it. Here's the mapping, 25-26 mapping study. Wow, I saved them a lot of money, 50 to 100K just on the mapping study alone to confirm what I came up with. But they must have done it because they must have already done the mapping because it looks like they agreed with me. So that's cool. All right, let's move on to the next question. Will judges' restraining order hold in preventing the National Guard? You know, is this not crazy what's going on in Portland, Oregon? Oh my God. Yes, we are strong. We're going to be fine. We've got the Empress behind us. Strong female power energy. And then the final outcome, 10 of Swords, many people betrayed. So instead of rioting or anything like that, they're going directly after people, knocking on their doors, and people are being given up by people who know them, and they're being arrested that way. People will be betrayed, but they're not going to take them on in a public setting where people are protesting. Instead, they're going to go after anarchists, and some of these anarchists are a problem. Like if you're harassing Jewish students at PSU, Portland State University, I'm one of the people that called the FBI because they were harassing and threatening. You don't get to act like that when you're on a student visa. Those people do need to leave. But it needs to be done in an American way that's legal and not just terrorizing anybody and everybody. So you do have the betrayal of the anarchist and the activist who took money from Iran and China, etc. The money was linked back mostly to Qatar. They will be given up and betrayed, but it's not going to be, they're going to really try and tone down these protests, doing it at protest. Oh, somebody's having a ginger ale. You know, you can make your own. I want to learn how to make my own. You missed it. Well, welcome. Oh, that sounds healthy. Well, they say hot water is the only thing you should have in the morning. Oh, yeah, okay. We'll make sure to be careful about the sound. Pentacles and coins, yes. We've got into that. Thank you, Debbie. I hope Mike Johnson get charged with some sort of crime because he must. Let's look at the future of Mike Johnson. Oh my God, what are you thinking about Mike Johnson? He's a bit of a troublemaker, isn't he? Ten of Cups. Trying to keep the family together. Do you think he'll succeed? Six of Pentacles is the power of the purse, hopes and fears the president, and then the final, he's afraid of the president. Final outcome is the purse is opened. Give it 30 days. Six of Pentacles is Congress to justly give the money. Empress is the treasure trove that ever overflows. Ten of Cups is the happy family. Smooth waters lay ahead. He had to go with the will of the people, and so that means J.D. Vance. Constitution wins. Hierophant is the Constitution. If you're asking about a question about what is the law of the land, it's, if you're talking about the U.S. government, it's the Constitution. So what is the higher ethos of the government? The high dogma that we cannot cross. That thing which we must never go against. It's the Constitution. So for that reason, I've always had the Hierophant be the symbol of the Constitution when asking about the government. The fact that they hold the purse, the opposition, Six of Pentacles, to disseminate justly, right, the resources. Two of Wands is a partnership. That tells me that the House will work it out. That the Congress will work this out. But it may mean this president is becoming increasingly isolated. That's how it feels to me as a remote viewer. I feel like he is the man on the hill. He is that guy on the hill who's looking over at Congress, but he's no longer a part of it. And I'll tell you, the Hierophant wins. And the treasure trove that ever overflows is because Gaia is the treasure trove that ever overflows. The gifts of Gaia, the gifts of the earth, which is the Empress, which, by the way, is typified by the time of right before the fall, which comes September 21st. We've just hit the fall. You have Indian summer when the wheat is ripe and the harvesting of the wheat comes, the fertility. You can see that beautiful wheat, the ripening of the wheat. And we often think of Empress as that beautiful time known as Indian summer, which is yeah, interesting. Yeah, we've just come out of Indian summer and now we're entering into the fall, which is the time of the metal element. How many congressmen have been threatened by Trump? Well, he's so damn sick. I feel like I continue to fight and yell at people, but I'm not doing so good as Trump. I feel sick as Trump. I feel sick. I feel like I'm not doing so well. That's the main thing I feel. I feel that there's this crazy, and the Queen of Cups, she rubs her lap, Seven of Cups. I'm all over the place. I feel like they're not listening to me as Trump. And King of Wands fights back. I'll tell you honestly, I think that J.D. Vance is coming in strong as the next president. I think that you have to realize it's all about power and money. So what the conservatives want is they already have it all, but they won't have it all if they continue to hold on to Donald Trump. So if they want to continue to have it all, they got to get rid of Donald Trump. So they've got the House, they've got the Senate, they've got the Supreme Court, they've got the presidency. Your feelings don't matter to them. So if you're a happy billionaire, trillionaire, and you want to keep the status quo and you want to prevent the country from going underwater because the president's a lunatic, what would you do? You'd still hold on to power. You just get rid of this lunatic, right? And then what would you do if you were a member of the cabinet, Trump's cabinet? You would betray Trump in the hopes of being picked up for a job by J.D. Vance. That's where your head would be if you were in the heads of a conservative sniffing around for power in this White House. You see the writing on the wall, and so you're going to start being awfully nice to J.D. Vance, and that's the civil war that's coming. So the page, what is coming? I think of like a crossing as what's coming. You're driving down the road, and then you get hit by something else. So you're driving down the road, and then you get hit by a crossing card. That's kind of how I see a crossing card. So the page of Pentacles coming in is a job offer or job. So I actually feel that despite all the gloom and doom that was there, this page of Pentacles comes in strong. I think part of it could be because they're hiring for the holidays, but this looks like they underhired for a long time, and now they have no choice but to start hiring people. So life continues. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Terry Gallant. I think they're getting sick of him. And I think that it's JD Vance once they get the will of the people. If the will of the people allow them to do it, and the will of the people are at that point, because Trump is losing a lot of support. Oh, very cool. Massage. Love it. Gas 351. That's not bad, Diana. That's pretty good. Where are you at? Those prices look pretty good to me. 351 for gas is not bad when you're paying close to $6 in California. Trump is setting the stage for war. This would delay elections, could be declared war. Do you think he's even going to be alive to fight a war? I mean, let's see about Trump going to war with Venezuela, and in general, whether or not the U.S. is going to be going to war. Good question, Sandra, excuse me. Good question from Sandra Steeds. What is our war prospects? What are our war prospects? I don't know. What are you guys thinking? You getting nervous about it? Ten of Swords, a great betrayal. The opposition is Wheel of Fortune. The hopes and fears, the Queen of Cups. And then the final outcome is... It's going to be difficult. I really think J.D. Vance is going to be the next president, and I think J.D. Vance is just a lot more studious and careful about these things. He doesn't want to go rushing into a war. Two of Swords is to shut the thing down. Like I said, Two of Swords, and it's a 2-year period, by the way. But it's the icy, closed. It can also be a coronary artery disease when that chest is closed like that. If I have a 3 of Swords and a 2 of Swords in the same, and someone's asking about health, I get nervous because of that constriction in the chest area. It can also be COPD, but I also think of 8 of Swords when I think of COPD. Anything that's tightening the chest area, closing of the chest. 2 of Swords. We asked about Trump, and the fact that the 10 of Swords is in the 7th house leads me to think that Trump's time is up with the Wheel of Fortune in the opposition. His mental health is ultimately what cost him the presidency. It's his mental health. He's crazy, I'm sorry to say, but people are openly saying that Trump is crazy. Even Republicans are starting to say he's crazy. Meat is through the roof. Then I always tell people be plant-based. So, start learning how to cook beans, and then you can you can take some ground turkey and add a little bit of that on top, or mix it in so that you have that nice meaty flavor, but you're also getting protein from other sources like beans, greens, beans, onions, berries, mushroom, nuts, and seeds, and just start reducing your meat. Willing to basically lose everything, personal and professional, for TCON. Yeah, exactly. Why are they willing to ruin their entire reputations for this guy? He's going to say he wanted to do what was best for America. Yeah. Oh, gas is cheap. Meat is high. How much eggs do you guys eat? I'm not a fan of eggs. They give me a headache. I would reduce the amount of eggs. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie is a very nice person, and she helped do the creative design for this channel, and also runs our fan pages over at Facebook. Thank you, Debbie Brady. If you're looking to polish your image, and you need a little help, check out Debbie Brady Star Maker extraordinaire. She does some good work. Joel Tilson. When I was working Seattle, I will leave for work at 4:30 in the morning, get home at 3 p.m. and make dinner for my wife and kids on my work week. Well, gosh, you must have really been a nice guy to do that. That's awfully nice of you. You're in North Carolina. Property taxes are the horrors. I live 3/4 area back deck and front concrete driveway. Oh my God. Nothing but a bunch of Okies. I'm proud to be an Okie from Muskogee. You know that song? Yeah, good book, Atlantis Falling. That is our book of the month. Very exciting. Yeah, looks like there's a Kindle edition as well if you want to save a little money that way. Also, it's better for the environment. Absolutamente. No problem, Linda. All right, let's see here. That sounds lovely, Kimberly. I think we all would love a man like that. Who was I fantasizing about as a boyfriend recently? Oh yes, a violin maker. I think that I want to learn to make violins. Are there any single violin makers out there? I want to help you make violins. I think that would be such a wonderful job to be a violin repair and violin maker. It takes 3 years before you graduate. You have to make 2 functioning violins to graduate from violin making school. I thought in another life, I would love to be a violin maker. Would that be fun? Oh, that's so nice, Joel. Joel had his soulmate, and they sounds like they built a great life together. Will Donald Trump? Well, do you think that the Abraham Accords and the Oasis is a good idea? I do. I think it's worth the Nobel Peace Prize. Anybody had come up with something like that, they definitely should get the Nobel Peace Prize. What? Just saying. Theoretically. If somebody were to have a nervous breakdown, for example, and start just putting their head inside a supercomputer, come up with something like this, whoever that strange person was probably should get the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm just saying, I like the idea. Works for me. You're entitled to your opinion. All right, let's find out. Is Donald Trump going to win the Nobel Peace Prize? He's going to sit and whine. I built that rebuild for Gaza and they didn't give me a peace prize. Is that what's going to happen? Ten of Pentacles. Whoops. Oh. My phone fell asleep. I'm not going to be able to show you. Oh well. Ten of Pentacles. The healing. The healing has begun. Oasis is our past and it's our future. A lot of jobs. It's a lot of money. Final outcome, a great partnership. It is very good what has been created. It is very, very good what has been created. I don't know if I would say the Nobel Prize, but I would say that what he did was very good. No, he doesn't want to rule. That's so not Elon. No, he wants to put the loopy-loop in. It's where you go into a pod, say from Gaza City, and then it flies you to Jerusalem in 5 minutes. It can go short distances. I think you can be inside the pod for like up to 15 minutes. So that's what he wants. He's doing one in United Arab Emirates, but he also wants it to be part of the rebuild. So people from all over the world will come to Gaza because Gaza is going to be like Disneyland. They want to ride the pod. They want to see this crazy futuristic place with 6 oasis zones that was created from imagination with all these crazy geniuses like Elon Musk coming in, right? So people all over the world will come to the new Gaza. And the best thing of all is that the people of Gaza can say, we built that. This is our true heritage, not terrorism and running around and killing people. No, the heritage of the Bedouin people who have succeeded and thrived for thousands and thousands of years, protecting the wadis, protecting the oasis, protecting the waters, opening up trade and tolerance and kindness to all. That is the history of the oasis. Tolerance, yes, money, trade, but also protecting the waters and being good for the ecosystem. So what Elon wants is he's all about connectivity and transportation. So of course he's going to want to have, his satellites there. But in addition to his satellites, excuse me, in addition to his satellites, he's going to want to put up his transportation with the Boring Company. It was an ethical decision for him. It was based on his ethics. He thought it would be good for the people. It would be good ultimately long-term. That's how he has a very different type of compassion than you and I. What's the long-term goal? What will be the end result? Will it be better than living in refugee camps in Gaza? Yeah, it'll be a hell of a lot better than refugee camps. Also, scholarships. He liked the intellectual challenge. So it met with his ethics, and it also met with his academic curiosity. Power. He definitely wanted power. You can see these are all major arcana for Elon Musk in terms of his involvement with the rebuild of Gaza. And then the final outcome for him, he let it go. So there was a part of him also that was willing to hand it over to people that had a greater stake in it than he does. He just wants to put his loopy-loop and his trade in, but he doesn't need to be the main player because his focus is more on astrology and stuff of, not astrology. His stuff is more about astronomy and physics and getting to Mars. And so this was something he wanted to invest in, and I think he believes in, and I think he wants to get his trade out like everybody else. But I don't think he feels the need to be the one in power, that there are other people that are better suited to it than him. So in answer to the question, does he want power? A hangman would say no. He just wants to be one of the investors. It's not his main. What he has said is he likes learning from people that are involved in areas of research that are nothing like his. Like, I'm a cultural anthropologist. I built this based on my studies of Oasis in the past. So that interested Elon because it was something that he didn't know anything about. He didn't know a lot about. He had studied the Patanjali. He had studied the Torah. He had studied different religious philosophies and history, but this was an area that he wasn't familiar with. It wasn't part of his own education. And so I think for that reason, he was willing to learn from people that were involved in the peace movement, but it's not his first baby. He wants to get to Mars. Yeah. All right. Did you have fun, everybody? I think we went for almost 2 hours. I'm going to call it a day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It was a lot of fun. All right. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find all the information below. All right. I'm out of here. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time. Have faith. We're moving in a good direction. Everything's going to be fine. All right. Bye.